After many great summers in southern BC, it was a little bittersweet starting my long drive north to the Arctic. So I made sure to savor the drive and the water I will miss. I know someday I will spend another summer here, but for now, we're Arctic bound. It was a really hot day leaving the Kootenays, so as soon as I got off the main highway and saw a lake with camping, I decided to stop for the day and just enjoy it. All right, hey, it's been a couple days. After we got to the last spot, I totally crashed. I had a nap. And then Frank and I went collecting firewood, which was adorable. I love that he can be helpful in these ways. So I thanked him a lot for his service in helping me bring firewood back to camp. And then I had a friend stop by who I haven't seen in a while, so I didn't film anything. We just hung out and spent the night by the fire visiting. And then yesterday we continued north. It was pretty neat because we eventually got onto a road, the 97 north, that I've driven many times. So I had a lot of memories coming back to me of various trips. And yeah, just like, oh yeah, I had a break there, or I ate at that restaurant. I got Frank a dog patty there. And so, yeah, it was like neat to kind of like feel these familiar feelings and yeah, be on our way northbound. So it was definitely light out later last night. The mosquitoes yesterday were horrendous. I know it's gonna get worse, but it was bad. I got like 50 bites. Frank probably got hundreds. He was such a champ about it, but we enjoyed a nice walk. And then we just like hung around by the thermocell outside for a couple hours before going to bed. And now it's today. I have had a productive morning here, just like working and just checking on my van fluids and doing some things like that before we go into Prince George today. It will be the last city on our northbound aside from Whitehorse, which isn't really a city. It's kind of like a big town. There's definitely lots in Whitehorse, everything you need, but Prince George has the last Costco. So we're gonna go do some provisioning. I'm very excited for. I'm gonna share with you my Costco haul. And first, on the way, I'm gonna stop and check out a waterfall. That was really nice. It was a great way to just take a moment off the road to relax and to get centered before going into the city to do chores. Although, not as centered as I will be later today or tomorrow. Hi, are you enjoying that grass? Are you enjoying the grass? Well, normally I don't like to be in the middle of everything, but in this case, I've decided to savor it a bit because we are in the northern town of Vanderhoof, which you've likely never heard of, and it's not actually that far north into BC because it is the geographic center of British Columbia, which means we are only halfway from the US border to the Yukon border. British Columbia is absolutely huge, and it becomes very apparent when you're driving across it. The past several hundred kilometers of driving has honestly not been that interesting. It pretty much looks the same. It is cow fields and trees, and you don't really see mountains or anything like that. There's tons of beautiful spots off the highway, but along the highway it's pretty monotonous. But soon things will start to get pretty interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. But while we're here, I decided to just stop and go for a little riverside walk, let Frank play in the river, and just decompress after a very big Costco trip I will share with you soon. All right, well, I went pretty big at Costco. Did I have to buy this much food to go north? No. Do you have to buy this much food to go north? Absolutely not. Did I anyways? I sure did. I find a great feeling of security in having lots of food on hand. I'm definitely a food hoarder. I am a prepper. I like to be prepared. And once I leave Whitehorse, I'm hoping to maybe stay north of Whitehorse for a couple months. So I want to be really prepared and not pay the ridiculous prices at the grocery stores up north that I've heard of. So I've had a few people ask about my provisioning for this trip north, and I've also shared a Costco haul in the past, which people found surprisingly interesting. So without further ado, let's get into this Costco haul. So it's going to take me 10 days to get from here to Whitehorse. And then from there, it might be 2 months till I get back to Whitehorse. So some stuff is for the entire summer, especially like in the sweets department, that kind of stuff. I just have stocked up to have a little sweet treat every day. And then some stuff like some of this produce is not really gonna last more than 10 days. I did get 30 pounds of potatoes because they were super cheap. They were $4.49 for a 10-pound bag. So I bought 3, and they are the little yellow potatoes. So they're really good, really easy to work with. I got 10 pounds of onions. The potatoes and onions store great without refrigeration. I just have a certain spot. I tuck them in my van, and I'll show you that when I start putting some of this food away. I got 1 bag of zucchinis. If cared for properly, they do last quite well. So this is like 7 zucchinis. So it'll last me a little bit past Whitehorse. 2 bags of peppers, a bag of mini cucumbers. I snack on these while driving. Avocados that will ripen, watermelons, little tomatoes, mushrooms, spinach, raspberries that won't last the night, double hummus, and some sauerkraut, which will all get eaten before I get to Whitehorse. Just the potato and onion will really last me past Whitehorse. I just got 1 thing of avocado oil because I have about half gallon of coconut oil and a gallon of olive oil. So I think that should last me a few months with all that in. I got 1 12-pack of the rice ramen. I have 2 or 3 in my van. They're just buried, and I want to have some sooner than later. I got a flat of organic diced tomatoes, a flat of organic tomato sauce, and a little flat of olives, which I love. They're just great for snacking. But if I make some bread from scratch, because I have flours, it might be nice to put some olives in. And the tomatoes will come in handy. I have tons of dried pasta in the van already, as well as for making soup and stews and things. So I like to have the canned tomatoes on hand. I got 2 different bags of chips, corn chips, and sweet medley Terra chips. One of these is for driving, and the other will be, the corn chips will be squirreled away for snacks up north, because I have a bunch of hatch green salsa I stocked up in the US I'm very excited to enjoy later this summer. I got a 2-pack jar of pickles because when my fresh produce runs out and I just have potato, onion, and dried goods, I figure opening a jar of pickles will be a really nice kind of like fresh, juicy snack. I got also this grilled green olives because I love olives. I've never seen grilled olives before, so I thought that'd be nice. I got a supply of salt because I didn't know if I had any in my back pantry, and I don't want to run out of salt. I just got 1 thing of chickpea pasta because I do have lots of normal organic semolina pasta. I also got a flat of these hash browns. These are one of my favorite trail van foods. You just add boiling water and they hydrate so fast and they're so tasty. Sometimes I just season them and eat them like that, but if you fry them, they are so good. And yeah, they're in little cartons, so you can just hydrate them in the carton, and they're really easy to store in the van, and they're really light to take backpacking. So they're tasty in all places. Highly recommend. Super light. I got a pack of smoked oysters because I love those, and I also got some canned salmon and canned tuna for Frank. I didn't put them out here because they're intended for him, but he loves that and I won't be able to get him chicken along the way. So I also like to have some canned fish on hand in case something really bad goes wrong and he runs out of food. So he has about a 2 to 3 month food supply in the van and tons of treats, but it's still good to just have a little backup. And then over here I got Frank another box of the greenies. They're his favorite, and a 6-pack of oat milk. Normally I would never buy more than like 2 cartons of oat milk, but it was a really good price and I'll use it in my tea and my decaf coffee and in some cooking. I got 1 bag of granola and 1 bag of these oatmeal dark chocolate, kind of like granola square bites. I'll probably eat these for breakfast along the road the next few days. 1 big pack of tortillas. That's like a normal stock up item for me because then I use the hummus and the spinach and the avocado or little tomatoes or what have you, and just make a quick wrap on the road when I'm driving. It's just like the fastest, easiest way to have lunch without having to cook. And then I got a 2-pack of peanut butter. I'll share that with Frank. 1 jar of almond butter and 1 jar of Nuts for Nature nut and seed butter, just to have something a little sticky. It's good mixed with the oatmeal. I'll just mix those together and eat them like that. It's really good, and just something with a bit of fat once I'm on all the dried goods. Yeah, so I also got some treats down here. I got some Good to Go blondies and brownies, some Biscoff cookies, the Unreal coconut bars, and this is like a 3-pound bag of like little individually wrapped like chocolate bites. And so I think I could have like 1 bite all summer and that would be really good. So that is what I picked up at Costco today. And when I go through Whitehorse in 10 days, I will be stocking up on more produce, but I will be definitely good on the dried and canned goods. Although I might pick up a few canned beans because I pretty much don't have any of those in the van. I was expecting to get that at Costco and I couldn't. So it's gonna be a little tricky to fit all this in the van, but I am a Tetris expert, so I'm looking forward to the challenge. I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a little full in there, but it's gonna be totally manageable. And a month from now, I'm gonna be really glad that I stocked up like this. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a little break and then start piling stuff into the van, and I'll give you an idea of how I'm making this fit, and also what other kind of stuff I already have in my cupboards, because that played a major role in what I chose to get today. But with that said, if you're curious, this was 500 Canadian dollars, so around 350 US. So I think that's really good, definitely cheaper than it would be to buy this amount of calories, say up in Dawson City or Inuvik or Tuk. Probably a little cheaper than anywhere in Whitehorse. And yeah, just get a lot of peace of mind from it. For me, I find great security in having lots of food on hand. So I would like to get rid of as much packaging as I can before I go north. So I'm gonna make a snack bag for all my treats. So I'm starting by lining the bottom with these cookies. We have our treats for the summer, and this will actually slide behind the back of my desk, between the desk and the door. I pretty much never open that door, so it's like a secret little stash spot I have, and that's where this is gonna go. And then it's also as far away as I can put stuff from where I am in bed, so it's much harder for me to grab unnecessary late night snacks. So this is my underbed food storage. It's about 3 feet by 2 foot by 14 inches deep, so it is a lot of food. I have some great stuff from Trader Joe's for snacking. I have tons of dried fruit. I have all these delicious ready-to-eat canned stuff from Trader Joe's, which my cupboard needs restocking, so that's going to free up some space in here. Oh, I have a salt jar. I have tons and tons of pasta. This is like grain. I have some more potato, flatbreads, pasta, tons of dried fruit, like that's golden berries. I know I have cherries and blueberries in here somewhere. And then, ooh, these are also really good. Onion chips. And then I have these totes, and there's 2 deep. Okay, so in those totes, I have dozens of ready-made camp meals and all the ingredients to make camp meals, including lentils, kamut, quinoa, TVP, couscous, dried vegetable powders. I have all sorts of extra spices. I have dried vegetables like zucchini, tomatoes, peppers. I have oil packets. I have a lot of food. I think I have more snacks. I have a whole bunch of electrolytes. I have some drink mixes. I have emergency coffee. I have a lot of stuff in there. Just that cubby alone, I could survive probably for 2 months. I would be a little hungry, but I could survive. So it's not somewhere I go into much. I keep some overstock of things I put in here. So I'm gonna move some over here and then see what I can cram into that space. Okay, so the next food space I have is this front part, which makes half of under my bed food storage. I have this crate here and then a larger crate. This crate is full, but there's things like more pasta, some seaweed, miso paste, and a bunch of canned goods, mostly coconut milk, and some home preserves from Flossie, and pickled sea asparagus, an empty jar of peanut butter. That does not need to be there. I have a full jar that could go there instead. That is better. Yeah, so it is, yeah, just more canned goods. And it's, like I said, full already, but I managed to get 1 peanut butter in there. And then in the bigger crate next to it, which I can't pull out because you're actually standing in the way, is mostly drink stuff. So more electrolyte powder. I love it. I love Element, and I have definitely stocked up for this trip. And yeah, just like other quick access, like little snacky things. All right, so Frank's greenies fit below his seat with his food, which is excellent. All right, so I remembered I had some extra space in here. I got the 4 oat milks, the potatoes, the salt, and the granola. And there's all my sweets. Ooh, squish. So the oil I poured into this bottle that fits in my cupboard here very well, where those tall ones don't. So that one was empty, and it was the exact amount of that bottle. So I put it in there, and then I have the oysters in here, and that's all that fits in there. This cupboard down here is popcorn and coconut oil and utensils. And then I have a food cupboard behind here that is like flours and baking stuff. And then down here is dried beans and lentils and rice and all those kind of dried staples I just have totally crammed in there. It's a pretty big space. And yeah, I'm gonna be doing a pretty good job getting most of this squared away. And everything that's not going to be fitting in a cupboard will fit down here in this back hallway section, which will leave this space here for Frank's chariot. And I have my GoSun solar oven. I'm gonna get bungee straps. It's gonna go on the roof, and that will free up my bed again. Or not the bed, my desk seating area anyways. I'm gonna get this done and I'll show you what it's like in here once everything's put where it's going to be for now. All right, I have done it. Look at that. This is what I got. And the whole top layer is the fresh stuff I'm gonna eat up soon. I got the 1 bag of chips tucked back there. And those watermelons and avocados get tucked on my bed behind pillows when I'm driving so they don't roll around and get bruised and smashed up and make a mess. And then they just go back there when I'm parked. So everything else I've gotten in cupboards, which is amazing. I got way more in cupboards than I expected. In this back end of my hallway, I have all my canned tomatoes and olives. And then I put all my potatoes and onions in separate paper bags. And then what I'll do is about every 2 weeks, go through all the potatoes and remove any that are starting to go bad so they don't spoil the whole lot. I've also gone through them when I put them in the paper bags to get rid of the ones that got hit by shovel blades because those go bad really fast. And now I trust that what's there will be good for 2 weeks without getting checked through. All right, well, thank you so much for coming along with this part of the journey and watching through all my provisioning and cramming it in all these little spots. And hopefully you found that interesting. It is definitely a little over the top. I don't mind if you think I have a problem. Sometimes I think I have a problem. Sometimes I get really annoyed there's a bunch of stuff here. I like when there's nothing there, but that's just the reality of it. I built it as a flex space and it's getting put to good use right now. So yeah, big thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't already. And maybe you have off-grid or boat friends or van friends who need to stock up for a bunch of food and would find this video helpful, so you could share it with them. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun summer of cooking in camp and making everything from scratch and using up all these ingredients I just bought, as well as a lot of stuff I have stored. My goal is by the end of my summer in the Yukon that I have significantly impacted my food stores. So with that said, I got a cute clip of Frank to send you off on your way. A huge thank you to patrons, and we'll see you soon.